Sarah from Crafty Sew and So, and Freya, my business partner, has challenged me to join in with the Show Us Your Stash challenge. So I'm really excited to show you my stash today. So this challenge was set by Sian from Kittenish Behaviour and Danni from A Pocket or Two, who's also one of our crafty bloggers. And yeah, I think it's a brilliant chance to just really have a good route through my stash. There's lots of reasons why we don't use fabric. Either it's too precious, it reminds us of some time when we bought it, or we bought it for a specific reason and that is no longer what we want to use it for. So yeah, I'm going to start off with one of my favourite fabrics and tell you why I haven't used it yet. Okay, so this is one of the fabrics that we've had in store for quite a long time. We had it in black with gold dots, and we've also had this coral. And I absolutely love this. As soon as we got it into the shop, I was like, I have to have some of this. So I think I've got about 1.5 meters here. And it's been sitting in my stash all this time, and people have been buying it and obviously making things out of it. And I've been going, oh, that's nice, but I wouldn't wear it, or oh, that's nice, but not right for my wardrobe. And I finally come to the conclusion that what I really want to make out of it is a little romper suit for my daughter with little frill cuffs and little tie straps. So I made a practice run and it went really well. So now that I've made the practice run, I'm going to make it out of this. The only thing is I got an almost identical one in turquoise without the gold. It had little palm trees on. From my lovely in-laws for Edith's first birthday last week. So now I'm again in a quandary of, does she actually need it? Because obviously she's growing so fast. Do I save this fabric and wait and make her one for next year? So yeah, we'll have to see. At the moment I'm so busy with work and things, it probably will be next year, but at least I've got that idea and I've got the fabric. Right, so second up, my oldest fabric. Well, I've got scraps of lots and lots of old fabrics, but I won't bore you by going through those. Anything that I have had for more than about 10 years, so from like my uni days, I think I have actually got through or have gotten rid of. There is one fabric that I don't have here, but it's at my parents' house, and it's actually a bag. So it's a giant bronze coloured leather bag that I made for my final collection when I was doing kids wear design for my degree, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It used tons of fabric, so therefore cost me quite a bit, and I just think it's an absolute waste not to reuse that fabric, so I'm going to think of a way of reusing it. I did use some to recover a portfolio, so I made myself a portfolio after I finished uni and covered it with that. So that's where all the scraps got used up, but the bag needs to just be basically taken apart and reused, probably made into another bag, I would imagine, but something a bit more practical, because it's this giant kind of like balloon duffel bag, and yeah, it's just not very practical. It was a showpiece. Yeah, so that's my oldest fabric, and one that I'm scared to cut into. Well, I suppose scared isn't really the reason why I haven't cut into this, but more just, I guess, a little bit kind of, I want to make sure that I'm definitely making the right garment out of it. So this fabric, which I've labelled up to remind me of what I've actually got, so I stand a chance of using it. I've actually got 2 meters 10 by 140 wide of it, so I've got loads and loads of it. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like this red kind of poppy print with gold, and I just adore it. And I think, again, I just don't want to make it into something that I'm not going to wear. So I think this might actually be something that I might save and use for a very special occasion, like maybe the next dressmaker's ball. So yeah, that's fabric that I am a little nervous to cut into and make into the wrong thing. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it could make a really gorgeous like little prom dress kind of thing. Fabric that I don't have a clue what to make with. Now this is going to seem really weird, because it's quite a normal fabric, and a lot of people would just be like, oh, just make it into some pyjamas or make it into a blouse or that kind of thing. So I bought this planning to make it into some pyjamas, and then I actually made myself some navy pyjamas, and they're great and I love them. And I also made myself some pyjama shorts in a different, like, paler coloured fabric, and I realised, like, how many pairs of pyjamas do you actually need? Some people would say as many as you can get, but they are quite laborious, and yeah, I don't have enough to make like long trousers. I could either make a pair of long trousers out of this, and I've got loads of pyjama bottoms. It's more pyjama tops that I don't have, and I like to have jersey pyjama tops generally. This, as soon as like I had the seed planted in my mind, these little birdies were only ever going to be pyjamas. So I see it as like pyjama fabric. So I did think about making a Tilly and the Buttons, now what's the name of it, Mimi blouse from her first book, and I thought that could look really, really cute, but then I worried because it's a button through blouse with short sleeves, will it look pyjama-ish? So I've just got this kind of like thing in my head that it's fabric that is to be worn in the house, and I think it's because it's white based and it's slightly see-through because it's cotton lawn. So if you've got any suggestions of what I could do with this, just feel free to inspire me, give me some ideas, and one day it will get made into something. At the moment I just like looking at it. Is that okay? So yeah, fabric with a story. Okay. So this fabric I bought before I was expecting my daughter at the sewing weekender. Well, I bought it in Cambridge when I'd been there for the sewing weekender. I stayed with Laura from Fabric Magpie, and we just had a really, really lovely time sewing and socialising, and it was just this amazing feeling to be in this room with all these other excited sewists and just buzzing off each other. I obviously really, really enjoyed the just getting my head down and getting on with the project, but the social kind of breakout bits were really lovely as well. And the girls that organised it, so the Fold Line and English Girl at Home, Charlotte, they organised it so that there were plenty of breakout times, and it was really nice to kind of have those little breaks like pre-scheduled. I think when I sew, I quite often just get kind of bogged down in it, and although I really enjoy it, and at the end of it I'm like, yeah, I've made something, sometimes I do forget to take breaks, so I almost exhaust myself a little bit when I'm sewing, especially because a lot of my sewing is these days for work, so I'm basically up against the clock. So yeah, it was really nice just to go and sew something that didn't matter too much. I can't even remember what I made. I think I started some espadrilles, which I've finished now. This was like 2 years ago that I went. And I also made something else. I really honestly can't remember what I made. Just goes to show that what I got out of it was something entirely different and something nice to wear, I expect, as well. But yeah, back to the fabric, sorry. So yeah, I bought this from the Cambridge Fabric Company, I want to say. It's a canvas, and I bought it with the intention of, when I had a little child, to cover a nursing chair with. Now, my search for a nursing chair has been a bit ridiculous, so I've like bidded and lost on eBay, and I've been around countless antique stores trying to get a nursing chair, and they're always just too big or too uncomfortable or too limp back or just not right. So I haven't found one. The only one that I did find was one that was already covered. It was brand new and it was like £300, so that just wasn't happening. So I've still got this fabric, and every time I look at it I'm going to remember that weekend away and how much fun it was, and I need to make it into something sometime. It's the kind of fabric that I think Edith will still really like when she's a little bit older. At the moment we've done up her nursery with like rainbows and all bright colours and things, so it might be nice if we ever move house, maybe I do like a jungly theme or something like that. My husband's just done a range of flashcards and a poster, an alphabet poster with all animals like this on it. and so that would be nice to kind of have that as a theme for a new bedroom if we move anytime. But yeah, this could definitely work for when our Edith is a little bit older. So, precious fabric. Well, all of my fabrics I would say are pretty precious. I do kind of grow very attached to fabric very quickly, and really think about what I want it to be made out of, because I really don't like making things and then not wearing them. I was going to show you this, which is a precious fabric because it's silk and it's just beautiful. So I will show you this. So yeah, this is lovely, and I've got a metre and a half of it by a metre. It's only it's a sample length basically, and it was given to me by a lovely guy who runs an interiors company, who quite often comes in and gives us his sample lengths that he gets sent when the fabrics have sold through or when they're no longer available. And yeah, it's gorgeous. Like, I don't really know what to use it for, but yeah, one day I will have a flash of inspiration and I'll make something gorgeous. It might make a really nice dress for Edith, to be honest, although it's silk. I mean, it's not exactly highly washable, but yeah, we'll see. I got given it for free, so if she wears it once, I don't like that kind of mentality, but I guess it's not doing anything here, so I don't know. Anyway, but what kind of led me in a different direction was what I'm wearing today. So I am wearing a Bettine Tilly and the Buttons dress, and it's the short version. I don't think there's only one version, but short with pockets version. And I made this. This was one of the first things that I made when we started stocking Tilly and the Buttons patterns. And this was one of the first fabrics that we started stocking when we opened the shop. So this is viscose from Oddies, and it's just got this nice kind of like bamboo print on it. And I'd made it and I wasn't wearing it because I was it was too big for me to begin with, and then I made myself bigger by having a baby. Yeah, so parts of me grew a little larger and it fits really nicely now, but I needed access for breastfeeding. So I've created like a little like keyhole, and then I've faced that with a bit of denim, and I've put like little button loops. So I've made those out of some faux leather that I've got, and some little kind of faux leather buttons as well. So yeah, I haven't worn this a lot, but at least I am wearing it again now, which is nice. That like a simple adjustment can make it a lot more wearable. It wasn't expensive fabric or anything like that. It was actually really good value. So yeah, precious means different things, doesn't it, to different people? Precious memories. Dream fabric. Well, so I don't have my dream fabric because I think a lot of people don't have their dream fabric. So I went down to Walthamstow Market a couple of years ago, and it was just before we did our first dressmakers ball, and I spotted some fabric that was just gorgeous. So it was basically like a net with organza flowers attached to it, with little kind of beads in the centre, and it was just really, really beautiful. Like, all the flowers were laser cut and layered, and then the beads were just really carefully put inside. Sometimes you can get these fabrics that are kind of embellished and they're a bit over the top, or they're just like, they look really machine done, but this was just lovely. It looked like it had been hand done. I don't think it was, because it wasn't massively expensive. I think it was about £25 a metre, which for Walthamstow is like, whoa, up here. We're talking, if this was sold in say the Cloth House or something like that, it would probably be like more like £90 a metre or something like that. I'm a bit out of touch with prices in there because I don't go to Soho to buy fabrics anymore. I did when I was at uni, but not anymore. So I've always had in my mind, when we have another dressmakers ball, to maybe do something with that. And I actually think like a bodice in this with that fabric combined with it, like as like a train or something like that, or like a kind of prom dress but with a massive overlay gathered skirt overlay, would be just amazing. So yeah, maybe I've just designed our next dressmakers ball dress, my next dressmakers ball dress. So we need to have a dressmakers ball. So the final question is, where do I keep my stash? So I keep my stash in our spare room. It used to be in the nursery, but then the nursery became the nursery. That was a very small room and everything had to be super organised and really compact, and it was a bit messy and blah, blah. Now that I've spread out into the larger room, still complete bomb site. Actually, no, I take that back. It's not a bomb site, it's just really full. And the main reason for that is because we've got all the crafty stock here at the moment. So Freya's got half the stock in her house, I've got half the stock in my house, and there is fabric everywhere. Plus my husband Matt is working from home, and we've got Edith and her toys. So when I'm working in this room, I have to have things to entertain Edith as well. So I've got a couple of drawers of those. So I'm not going to show you basically anything behind me, because that is like no-go area, piles of boxes and everything like that. I'm going to show you my Kallax unit, which is how everything's usually organised. So yeah, bear with me and I will just move the camera so you can see it. Okay, so this is my Kallax unit, and it's a 4x4, and each of these boxes has either fabric or patterns. It's a complete tip on top. I really need to sort that out, but like I say, like a lot of the space is being used up at the moment with other things. And I did try and get it really organised by putting these lovely little labels on. So I used my label maker. I've got woven fabrics and then jersey scraps, and then that was woven scraps. But my daughter likes peeling off the labels, so anything that is about a metre off the ground is now not labelled. And anything above that is labelled, so I'm still slightly organised. Oh dear. So yeah, basically I like to kind of keep my fabrics kind of organised by rolling them up and shoving them in. And they were really organised, but you know, time at the moment has meant that I've just been grabbing things when I can and not kept them very organised. But one thing that I have done is I've been through, and anything that I really want to use quite soon, so like this spotty polyester I've pulled out, and that just reminds me that I have got those in my stash. So I need to do that with this box next, and when I've put all these bits in as well, back in. But yeah, that's really helped me. I've already used this, and I've used some of the lining as well, because I just forget that I've got these things if they're hidden away in the boxes. And then again with this is my jersey, so these are all the jerseys that I want to use soon. So I've used this one and this one to make slipper boots, first samples for the new kit and pattern and live online workshop that we're bringing out, and they look gorgeous. And then I don't think I've used that yet. No, I haven't used that yet, but that's half a metre, so it'd be great for linings or something little for Edith. And then this one I have used to make a t-shirt, which I'm hoping we'll bring out quite soon as a My Handmade Wardrobe pattern, just basic t-shirt with a couple of variations. And then this one, which has like gold sparkly bits on, which I love, which I think we've just sold out of in the shop. I'm planning to make a jersey cardi out of. So it just reminds me, you know, what I've got. And then I've split off some, sorry about the plug, split off baby fabrics. So I've got like all different baby fabrics in there. Oh God, it really was organised, I promise you, at one point. And then I've got like all my adult patterns, and I tend to put them in these plastic wallets. so that I can kind of keep everything all together. So for instance, let's look. So this was the dress that I made for the dressmakers ball last year, but I adapted it a lot for maternity, because at that point I was 8 months pregnant. And you can see I've got my like fitting notes in there, and the envelope, and I try and keep them all relatively organised like this, so that seems to work pretty well for me. And then I've got a drawer of craft patterns, and also men's patterns and kids patterns, so I have those all split out. So that's been really like a great thing to do to kind of get everything organised. So I hope you've enjoyed having a good route through my stash. I certainly have. I have taken time to review how I fabric shop lately, and I'm actually starting to buy more of the fabrics that I love. So rather than buying like a metre or a metre and a half, if I think there's any chance that I might want to make a dress or trousers out of it, I'm buying at least 2 metres, sometimes 3, because a lot of the patterns that I like and a lot of the patterns that we develop require quite a bit more fabric. I think the trends are going more towards floaty, loose styles, especially with floaty sleeves or maxi length skirts and wide palazzo pants. So they just require a bit more fabric. So my kind of promise to myself is that if I really like a fabric, I will buy that fabric, and maybe not like buy loads of fabrics, but I will buy plenty of that fabric. So anything that I've got left over, I can use to make clothes for Edith. So she's a perfect excuse to basically make sure that I'm buying what I need to buy fabric-wise, and yeah, and I'm enjoying making things for her as well. It's getting to the point now where she's a year old, so the 1 year to like 18 months. Hopefully she won't grow at quite such a rapid speed, so she'll stay in her clothes for a little bit longer. But also she is kind of like wearing them out because she's crawling, and when she starts walking she'll probably obviously start like, you know, climbing over things, and yeah, she's gonna need a lot of clothes, and I'm gonna need to learn how to patch things, I would imagine. So that's when my box of fabric scraps will really come in handy. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed having a look through my stash, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye!